What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dude Ranch DIY. Today we are bringing you a little bit different type of video. You can see we got the guys here. We are at the full-time job, and we are going to be testing out this Först XR8 tracked chipper. This thing is pretty sweet. We've been using it a little bit. You already saw it in one video, but I think the jobs that we got lined up for it today are like purpose built for something like this. Hard to access, places where you can't get a full-size truck and chipper. You need something light with low ground pressure, and this machine is built for exactly that. So let me show you what we got going on. First of all, let me introduce everybody. We got Pete the Meat, we got Cheese, and we got Trevor. And here is the star of the show. Basically, we're gonna be driving it out over this baseball field to all those brown leaves, and we gotta clean up this tree that fell out in the field. We obviously cannot tear up the grass and stuff, so that's why we're using this bad boy.
While this is the foul ball line and the edge of the field, we don't want to create any ruts. If we brought a truck and chipper in here, we would have had some serious deep tire marks. The ground is a little soft, or the ground is pretty strong, but you can see here, there's nothing, no kind of ground compaction whatsoever. Biggest downfall to these things is the turning radius. When you start turning with the track machine, you really start tearing some things up. So that's not ideal, but it's a whole lot better than leaving huge ruts from the truck and the tow behind chipper.
I mean, this thing just devoured that cherry pretty quickly. As you can see here, we chipped up the brush and the wood. That took about 11 minutes total. I mean, not that this is any faster than a conventional chipper, but you see, we were able to come in, very low impact, drive it right to where we needed it to be. We didn't have to drag any brush. Another thing that I don't think I pointed out is that you can also, over here, it's kind of covered up now because we have the feed tray closed, but you can adjust on this knob, this dial, the rate at which the rollers spin. So if you have larger material, larger diameter, you can turn it down so it feeds it slower. If you're just chipping brush, you can turn it up and it'll chip faster. That also affects the size of the chips coming out of the chute. The faster it feeds, the bigger the chips are going to be. The slower it feeds, the smaller and more precise the chips are going to be. So we're going to bring it back, load it back up on the trailer. We got another job that's a little bit more involved, and 100% you would not be able to get a regular chipper to it at all. In fact, you recording? All right, guys, we're here at the second job. Obviously, you can see super tight, like a condo complex. We're seal coating all the driveways. It's a mess just getting in here with the truck and trailer, but once we found out where we can park and access it, we got the chipper back here, no problem. There's absolutely no way you're gonna get any tow behind conventional chipper back here. This was a little bit of a stretch. It was a little wide in one spot, but as you can see, we got a big oak tree down here. It's a big eyesore. We're not gonna clean everything up, but we are gonna make it look a little more appealing by chipping as much of the brush, dead leaves and stuff as we can. And then Pete is gonna hop up in this Norway maple here. It's heaving, you can see it's leaning. It got hit when the tree came down, and the bottom of it is a little bit compromised. So we're going to be taking that down today once we make a little bit of room here. So I think this machine should be perfect for this job. So let's see how it does. So under the hood here, while Pete gets set up to climb this maple, it's got a 55 horsepower Doosan diesel motor. Now, an interesting thing about this machine is there is no clutch. It's direct drive. If you look, there's a series of pulleys that spin the chipping disc, and it's right off the motor. So there's no clutch to futz with, and potentially brake. It's very simple and very efficient as far as, from a power standpoint. There's some nice details that I've never seen on other chippers, like these dust brushes, to prevent dust from getting sucked in through the radiator back to the motor. Helps keep everything clean. Nice, easy to access air filter, oil fill, oil check. So everything is pretty well thought out on this unit. If you needed to access the chipper disc, you can see it's hinged right here. There's 2 bolts on the other side, and the whole thing just folds over, and you have access to the inner workings, the feed wheels and the chipper disc as well. But it's pretty nice. Nice gas shock to hold this hood in place. Everything's covered up and sturdy. You can put it down, it closes nice and soft, and there's just a latch on each side to hold it. This is a great example of the articulating undercarriage for working on hillsides. I don't know if Chris can step back a little bit. You'll see the actual slope that we're on here. And it is by no means flat. So, major benefit to this unit as opposed to a conventional, track chipper or just a traditional chipper in general. This just shows you how steep this area is. We're up here working. Trevor's all the way down there. And Pete is all the way up there.
All right, guys, well, this is how we're leaving it. It's currently a lot better, a little bit less of an eyesore than when we got here. Not as much dead stuff sticking up. This is a really steep hill here, and it's pretty tough to get access down there, but we got rid of that Norway maple, and the track chipper did an awesome job. We would still be dragging brush out to the truck if we didn't have this. All right, we're here, job 3, another park owned by the town. We're coming in through this gap in these rocks, and we got some dead ash trees. There's 4 total. As you can see, there's another one over there, and they back up to this private property, leaning over this guy's fence and pool, whatever have you. So we're gonna make these disappear between today and tomorrow. Chipper comes in, absolutely no problem. Hopefully we can get the bucket in without much issue either. All right, guys, we just pulled the chipper out of here. As you can see, we chipped up most of the big stuff. The wood, we're gonna have to come back and figure out what we're doing with that. We got these 2 spars and this one, 3 out of the 4. Now we gotta reposition the bucket to get that last one.
These might be the smallest chips I've ever seen.
Yeah, these are tiny chips. Look at that.
Those will break down fast.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
There he is.
Well, all right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's video here with the Först XR8D Trax chipper. This was really our first time using it. I mean, Chris and I used it a little bit, but I just wanted to run down because these are the guys that I work with every day. This is my crew, and we do this work every day. This was a pretty typical day. Granted, we did some jobs that we've kind of been putting on the back burner because the town currently doesn't own a machine like this. So I just want to run down all of us, and we're going to say one thing that we like and one thing that we don't like. And keep in mind, we are professional arborists that do this every day. You know, some of these things might sound like kind of complaining, but to guys that use chippers all day, every day, this is, you know, what we're looking for. So we're going to start out with Pete.
I enjoy the accessibility you have with the machine and the ability to drive to the mess. As you know, with tree work, sometimes it's on this side of the tree, sometimes it's on that side of the tree, sometimes the bucket truck's in the way. So it's very nice to be able to go right to it, and you're right at the mess, you throw it in, and you're done.
Yeah.
One thing I would change is that the feed tray seems a little long to me. I would shorten it up to make it a little easier to get the small pieces in there.
Right. Yeah, because you're kind of like leaning in, especially with the smaller stuff.
Leaning's never good.
And pushing. I have two things. One is very simple. There's a throttle control knob on the back, actually on the driver's side, and I'd like to see that, you know, duplicated and put another one, maybe even two more, on each side back here, the business end of the chipper, because sometimes you'll be standing where I am, and then you have to walk around the chipper to the front to idle it up to get those feed wheels to start moving. The second thing that I don't particularly care for is the way that the chute, one, doesn't spin 360 degrees. There is a limiting factor. There's like 2 stops. So it'll go like maybe 300 degrees, but not a full 360. And the way in which you use these clamps here to like loosen it and tighten it, it's just a little cumbersome and bulky. I think that it could be simplified so that it's easier, and just with one hand, you can pull something and rotate the chute. But I mean, I love how powerful it is, and I love the auto feed on it. So that's my take. Trevor, what do you got?
Yeah, so I think it just needs a yoke lift or some type of cylinder to open up the feed wheels. It's a little hard to feed wood in when it has a straight edge on it. You'd have to put an angle on it to really get the feed wheels to grab. They are sharp, but it just takes a little bit. Maybe the spring pressure is pretty high.
Yeah.
It seems like it'll shoot material out when you reverse it as well, telling you that the springs are pretty strong. But I really like the chip size. I'm a huge fan of the small chips. You could pack a lot in a truck or just spread them out nicely. They're just ready to go to be put anywhere and decompose quickly.
Yeah, they'll decompose really quick with that chip size. So,
one of my likes and dislikes about this chipper is the ability to raise and lower the whole machine. Being a tall guy myself, I like the machine being a little high. That way it's kind of waist height. I'm not feeling like I'm going to fall into the chipper tray. But for a guy that's shorter, kind of like Pete, not having it close enough to the ground for him to be able to reach in and feed it is kind of cumbersome. So that's kind of a pro and a con for this. But I do believe that they offer another machine that does not have the adjustable tracks that is lower. Jake can clarify
right,
that.
yeah, I'm not sure on that, but I would imagine that all of this ability to raise and lower, and keep in mind that the machine currently is all the way up. You can see all the ground clearance that we have, but the fixed carriage or tracked unit might be a little bit shorter, but don't quote me on that. Overall, I mean, I think it worked great for this. Obviously, it's not an everyday use chipper. It's more specialized. So it certainly has its place in the market. I really enjoyed using it. I think these guys did. It certainly made our life a lot easier today for these jobs. If you guys are interested in this unit or just getting more information about their whole product line, they make conventional toe-behind chippers. I'm going to put a link to Kenny down below in the description, and you can get his phone number and the website for Först Global. Well, it's right there, FörstGlobal.com. And go check these out. Give Kenny a call if you want more information. He'll get you hooked up with any answers to questions that you may have. But we got this thing for a couple more weeks, so you should be seeing it
in a couple more videos. And yeah, I just want to thank Först for the opportunity. So as always, guys, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this. But for now, I'm Jake.
I'm Chris.
I'm Trevor. I'm Pete.
This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.